Hey movie lovers, welcome to Apocalypse Movie News, the show where we break down the biggest movie news stories throughout the week. I am your host Jacob Bartley, and I am joined by Jake Berlin. What's going on, Jake?
Not much, man. Glad to be here talking movies.
Oh yeah, so while Rogue One might be on all of our minds, there's still other stuff going on in the world of movies, so let's jump right into it. So after decades of waiting for a sequel, fans of the original Blade Runner finally got their wish as the sequel landed in the hands of big-time director Denis Villeneuve. From there, the project recruited a fantastic cast led by Ryan Gosling and a returning Harrison Ford. Fast forward to this week and we now have our first official look at Blade Runner 2049. 2049 follows LAPD Blade Runner Officer K, played by Gosling, who's chasing after a long-buried secret that could turn society upside down. K's discovery eventually puts him on a path to find Rick Deckard, played by Ford, a former Blade Runner who has been missing for 30 years. You said you couldn't get into the original film, so how are you feeling about this sequel so far?
It looks awesome. I think the footage is it doesn't really show a lot, it doesn't reveal a ton, but it's a nice introduction into what Denis Villeneuve is trying to do with this sequel. Obviously, it's decades in the making. People have been wanting this for a very, very long time. I wasn't a huge fan of the original. I've watched it multiple times, trying to get into it. Poised to be a fantastic movie, and I think it's such a cool idea, and these Blade Runner type officers, and it visually looks awesome. There's some really, really cool stuff. I've been reading a bunch of stuff. Villeneuve has been trying to keep practical effects as high as possible, which is a very cool thing, especially in the year 2049. But the trailer was awesome. I'm excited for a full-length trailer. I think it's like the perfect little tease. Love hearing that original music because the music was always good as well. And I think it looks great. I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be one big movie next year. So.
Yeah, I've never seen the original Blade Runner, so I have no perspective from that point, but I do like this as a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. This is a true teaser trailer. It's nothing more than that. And let's say that Blade Runner didn't exist and this movie just came out. A science fiction film set in the future starring Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, where Harrison Ford used to do this role and Ryan Gosling is the new guy who does it. Mm-hmm. And you just show me this trailer, I'm intrigued immediately. And the fact that there's an older film that ties into this, it makes it all the better for me. I don't know if I'm going to like Blade Runner. People consider it a classic and people love it, but people who don't love it, they don't really like it that much. So I'm curious to see what I'm going to feel about it. I'll definitely watch it before this movie, but just this trailer on its own, considering the cast and the director is one of the best directors working today. So
hit after hit.
How can I not be excited for this?
I agree.
And maybe it's not the best teaser trailer in the world, but it did its job in like creating intrigue in the film. All right, well, our next trailer holds our first look at The Lost City of Z. The film tells the true life story of military man turned explorer Percy Fawcett, played by Charlie Hunnam, who disappeared in the 1920s during his obsessive search for a lost/mysterious city in the Amazon. The Lost City of Z is directed by James Gray and also stars Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, and Sienna Miller, and is set to open on April 21st, 2017. So I'll go ahead and kick this one off. I don't know much about this story, the true story, but I know we've been keeping our eye on it. With a couple images came out like earlier this year, and the cast is intriguing. I like this trailer. I was expecting it to be like an exploration movie, but it's more like a kind of like it has a thriller aspect to it, and like
almost a horror aspect.
A horror aspect. It kind of reminds me of what was that stupid horror movie that came out? But
the Eli Roth movie.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Green Inferno.
Yeah, but like I know it's not going to be like that. That movie was horrible. But in that horror sense, it kind of feels like that. But I'm excited for this movie now. I already was because I like Charlie Hunnam and Tom Holland. That's awesome. But this trailer was intense.
Yeah.
I felt that intensity, and I'm excited for it now.
Going in before the trailer, it almost looked like this lighthearted, fun adventure exploration.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
But you look at this trailer, and it definitely has this thriller kind of creepier vibe to it. And I was looking at the synopsis, and this guy kind of went crazy for this city. I like Charlie Hunnam as an actor very much. Obviously, Sons of Anarchy, I thought he was cool in Pacific Rim. It looks fun. It's a different type of movie. We don't get very many of these exploration movies very much anymore. So it should be fun. So.
All right, with the year wrapping up pretty quickly, Entertainment Weekly dedicated this week to revealing a ton of new looks for some of 2017's most exciting films. One of those being Okja?
Okja.
Okja?
Yeah.
Okja serves as Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to 2014's Snowpiercer. Described as a bold global adventure, the story follows a young girl who risks everything to prevent a powerful multinational company from kidnapping her best friend, a massive animal named Okja. Okja is aiming for a 2017 release and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Lily Collins, Tilda Swinton, Giancarlo Esposito, and Paul Dano. Jake, how does this new film from the director of Snowpiercer sound to you?
It sounds awesome, and after watching Snowpiercer, which was in the top 5 of my 2014 list, I adore that movie. I had heard about Okja, but there was no details or cast or anything involved in it. Just the announcing that Jake Gyllenhaal was involved and everything. I was really excited for it, but I hadn't heard anything until now. And I think that hearing that it's being described almost as a monster movie, but with this kind of cast and this director, I'm very interested in it. The images don't reveal much; it's just pretty much character portraits showing the cast, but the cast is phenomenal. The director, Snowpiercer, is one of the most unique films out there. It's very fantastic, and they're doing a TV show off of it now. But I think it sounds awesome, and I think there's some really cool elements involved. I'm very interested to see what this animal looks like. They seem like they're kind of keeping it a secret. I would expect them to until at least a trailer, maybe even after, which is definitely the most intriguing part. But Okja does sound very interesting. So.
Yeah, so you can't tell much from the trailers.
No,
I mean,
not
there
at all.
are the images. I mean,
yeah.
there's nothing to go off of. But considering the director and what he did with Snowpiercer was very unique. It was in my top 10 of that year also. And a very unique film, and it's cool that you took it starred like an American actor, because you got to get people to watch it, you know. So, and they're doing the same thing with this with Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know, is Jake Gyllenhaal the lead or no?
I don't know. I think
because it's about the girl, right?
And I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it is an unknown Japanese girl who's kind of the main. But then you surround her with all these big names.
Yeah, and I don't know if his role has been confirmed, but maybe Jake Gyllenhaal is maybe an antagonist.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and then you see Tilda Swinton returns to work with this director again, and she was the best part of Snowpiercer in my opinion. So, this is very interesting. I'll definitely have my eye on it when it comes out. Yeah. All right, continuing the theme of new looks at 2017 movies, Entertainment Weekly revealed a brand new image for Zack Snyder's superhero monstrosity Justice League. While the new image gives an awesome new look at the Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman, many believe it has a hidden meaning regarding tone and possibly even a changing of the guard regarding certain characters. Jake, is this image a cool new shot?
It is. It's actually a very cool new shot, and you wouldn't expect to say that after seeing these guys so much, but like you had said, it kind of holds a hidden meaning. And Gio had written up an article on the site regarding kind of arguing what it means and what it can mean going forward for the DCU. But outside of just being really cool and seeing these three characters together, he had argued that the color of it was kind of describing a lighter tone going forward for these movies. What's interesting is that they all have like this scared look on their face. I think they're looking at Green Lantern. And
really?
I've been kind of searching.
That's not even the first or second thing that came to my head.
I've been searching through like the Instagram and all this kind of stuff, and people are pointing out that there's hints of green throughout the image, close up on their suits.
Oh shoot!
And
now that you mentioned that,
I think even though it's like really a blue color and whatnot, I think that they're looking at Green Lantern, and it would be very cool if that actually happened in the movie, depending on what his role is or who he is, but. The image definitely holds some kind of meaning as far as what the DCU is going to look like going forward. Also, Superman is dead right now, and this could be the new Trinity going forward for at least a movie. So you could see these three kind of being buddies for a little bit. You got the young kid in Flash learning from Wonder Woman and Batman and how long they've been involved. But it's a cool new shot. Flash is definitely the newer character of all of them, obviously, and I think these three characters out of all the Justice League characters are some of the most exciting going forward for sure.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw this image, and it just reminded me that there's a Justice League movie coming out. And we can all be disappointed with Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, but just put those aside and there's a Justice League movie coming out, and it made me so happy. But aside from that, I was like, it's just a regular image. But looking at it, it actually tells a little story of its own. We don't know what they're looking at. I don't think it's Green Lantern. That would be cool. But why would Green Lantern be so surprising to them when they've seen Superman?
Or maybe a bad Superman?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's either one of the alien creatures that they're going to be fighting, or it's Superman coming back to life. So they all think he's dead. So if you look at their faces, the Flash is like, what the hell? And Wonder Woman's like, oh shit. And of course, Batman's
just like, what?
He's just like ready to fight or something. Like, he's not worried.
He's not fazed by anything.
But they are. And it's crazy because they're super beings and he's not. So he's not the one phased.
So it makes Batman Batman.
Exactly. He's a badass. So if I had to put money on it, which I wouldn't want to, I would say it's Superman resurrected.
The first time they see him.
Exactly. Because they're like, holy shit. And if you notice, I don't know if anyone has noticed, I'm sure everyone has noticed this, but Wonder Woman's shield is on the ground.
Yeah.
So did they just get done fighting somebody?
I'm guessing it's after they were get done fighting aliens, and then Darkseid or Steppenwolf sends out bad Superman, like, here, fight this.
Yeah, and because her shield is on the ground,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's not just like they just walked up. So yeah. All right, well, sticking in the DCEU for the next topic, alongside the new Justice League image, Entertainment Weekly also revealed a juicy new look at Wonder Woman. The new image, as director Patty Jenkins puts it, reveals Diana's moment, quote-unquote, as she forges her own path and steals the Amazon's mythical sword called the God Killer, before heading to Europe to fight the war to end all wars. Starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Connie Nielsen, and Robin Wright, Wonder Woman is set to open on June 2nd, 2017. So this image doesn't give too much away, but it's kind of cool.
It's kind of an image from the trailer.
Exactly. We kind of see this, and it's awesome to know that, and we know this, Wonder Woman kind of rebels against the Amazonians to go on this journey, to go fight in the war and, fight with Steve Trevor. So that's no secret. So it's cool that they're kind of sticking to like the mythology in a way, how Wonder Woman goes against them like that. So I like the image. It doesn't get me too excited. I'm already super excited for this movie, but I do like it. How do you feel about it, Jake?
What do you think about the name, God Killer?
Oh, I like it because that's awesome because they fight gods, and she's gonna. I think maybe the God of War is gonna be in this movie. Ares. So. And why not use the God Killer to take him on? So.
Yeah, so I echo everything you said, but here's what I took away from it. I wrote it up for the site this morning, and I kind of did some research as far as the God Killer and if it meant anything in the comics. And there's one incarnation in the comics where Zeus actually uses a sword called the God Killer in a giant God war.
Really?
And there's been rumors, and it's not confirmed, but there's been rumors that her origin is altered, so where she's not born from clay,
Zeus
but
is her
she's
father,
a demigod, and she's the daughter of Zeus. So what if this sword actually belongs to her father?
That would be awesome.
Called the God Killer, and maybe not has some kind of special powers, but it's like some legendary sword that's been in multiple battles or whatnot. It would make sense to be called the God Killer if it was handled by Zeus.
I would love that because I love Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome.
And it would tie into everything they're kind of going for. This is very much a Greek mythology movie, and they're saying that Aquaman is almost the son of Poseidon, maybe, and has relations there, and they're kind of tying it into there.
That's so awesome.
So it would totally make sense, but the name is awesome. I think the image is really cool. It's kind of like what Patty Jenkins said. It's her moment. It's kind of when she changes her mind. It's like, hey, I need to go do this, which is very cool. And it just shows that DC is very excited for this movie because they keep piling up images and things for Wonder Woman. It's still over 6 months away.
I'm hoping we get 2 great DC movies next year.
I'm
these 2 movies
I agree.
are going to be the deciding factor.
If DC, imagine if we have DC and Marvel do fantastic next year.
I would love it. We'd be the happiest people in the world. Yeah. All right, so thanks to Entertainment Weekly once again, we have another look at Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. The image shows Catherine Waterston's Ripley-type character, Daniels, ready for any kind of fighting coming her way, human or monster. While we're still waiting for our first real look through a trailer, we have a pretty good idea of where this sequel/prequel lies on most anticipated lists for next year. Alien Covenant is released on May 19th of next year and also stars Michael Fassbender, Danny McBride, Bill Crudup, James Franco, Noomi Rapace, and Guy Pearce. Jake, you look at this new image and keeping in mind everything you've heard and seen from the movie, on a scale of 1 to 10, what kind of anticipation do you have for it?
Before I saw this image and like all the stuff coming out this week, I was like maybe, 6, maybe a 7. But I'm going to push it all the way up to like an 8.5. And it's mainly because they're going back to its alien roots. And I was questioning it beforehand because I wanted to see a Prometheus sequel. But then I thought, the Prometheus thing, it was too close to Alien, but not Alien. and it just didn't work that way. And so going back to this style of film and kind of going back to the xenomorphs and all that stuff, I think it sounds great. I love that Catherine Waterston's the lead. You throw someone like Danny McBride in there, who is known for his comedy work, but is going to be obviously an action drama movie. Michael Fassbender, bringing back in him as the android David. James Franco being announced in there too. Like, that's a crazy one, but it sounds awesome. I think the images are really cool. She very much looks like a Ripley type character. I'm just interested to see how much it ties into the original Alien, because it is kind of being considered a prequel to Alien, but there's technically one more movie after this that's going to tie into it, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm just hoping it's a bunch of xenomorph action and it's not, trying to be Alien but not Alien at the same time. So.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the Alien franchise. I watched them when I was a kid, but it was never my favorite, and I do need to revisit them because I haven't seen them since I was really, really young. But this image does excite me, and I like the poster too. It just says "Run,"
and it's just got the face of the
exactly, because if you see one of those, that's the first thing you think is "Run." And I did like her in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, so that raises my anticipation a little bit. And I don't know, considering that I wasn't a big fan of the franchise before, and like I don't know much about the mythology, I was probably like a 3 as far as anticipation. And I would say the casting and this image probably raises it to about like a 6 or 7.
Nice.
I will be there when it comes out. I do want to see it, and I love the rest of the cast. I loved Michael Fassbender in Prometheus. I thought he was the best part of the movie, and James Franco and Danny McBride intrigued me. That's very interesting. And they've worked together a lot before, and it's funny. In This Is the End, like they hate each other, and they're saying how they never want to work together again, and here they are working together.
Yeah, what's interesting? I was reading the official synopsis, and it was saying that all the newcomers, minus Michael Fassbender, are part of the Covenant ship. It's another ship name,
That's
like Prometheus,
awesome.
And they're headed to a planet called Paradise, which is where David and Noomi Rapace's character were headed. And I guess when they get there, there's a sole survivor, and it's Michael Fassbender's David, which is very interesting.
Wasn't it confirmed that Noomi Rapace was going to have a small role?
I think so, but I think she might die in the beginning, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see her going forward. But if it's just like a sole survivor on this planet and it's the android David, that's very interesting, because is he the same or is he different, or there's some intriguing questions there. So
yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm sure we'll both be watching it in theaters next year. All right, immediately following our first look at Blade Runner 2049 to start the week, we got a brand new trailer for John Wick Chapter 2. The sequel brings back Keanu Reeves as the hitman known as the Boogeyman. Following the events of the first movie, a contract for Wick has gone international, which takes him to Rome to find and finish off those who are coming for him. John Wick Chapter 2 hits theaters on February 10th, 2017, and also stars Lawrence Fishburne, Common, Ruby Rose, John Leguizamo, and Ian McShane. Jake, is Chapter 2 looking just as awesome as the first? And I'm going to let you handle this one because I have not watched the trailer yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's an awesome trailer. It builds on what the previous trailer did. It's a little bit longer. There's some definitely cool new shots in there. But what I like about it is that there isn't a ton of new stuff. They're keeping stuff kind of hidden, which is what we want to see from these movies. Like, remember when this movie came out 2 years ago? The first trailer came out a month before its release.
I remember that. Yeah.
A month. And so the fact that obviously you can tell the budget's been amped up a little bit because it was so highly loved. But they're keeping stuff back a little bit. And that's really cool. There's only a couple shots of Common in there, so you don't really see him very much. You don't see John Leguizamo, which is cool. Obviously, Keanu Reeves has kind of got a handle on this role. He looks awesome. He's kicking ass. All kinds of headshots and stuff like that. There's that one scene at the end of the first trailer where there's all those guys surrounding him, and it shuts off as he grabs his gun. That one's extended in this one a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you get to see a little stuff. But it's definitely a cool trailer, action-packed. Gets me even more excited for this movie, and the fact that it's only 2 months away is pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, I will say, even though I haven't seen this new trailer, I'm really looking forward to John Wick 2. And yeah, I will definitely watch this trailer pretty soon. Apparently, I'm not doing my job. All right, well, moving on to our Take One, Leave One segment, where we put two things against each other, and we either take one or leave one. It doesn't mean you hate the thing you leave. It just means you like the one you take more. So in our sole matchup today for Take One, Leave One, we'll be talking about the two big movies that were released this past Wednesday. First up is Assassin's Creed, which was directed by Justin Kurzel and stars Michael Fassbender in a big screen adaptation of the popular video game that follows Caleb Lynch, who through revolutionary technology experiences the adventures of his ancestor in 15th century Spain, who is part of a secret society known as the Assassins. It also stars Marion Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, and Michael K. Williams. The second movie is Passengers, directed by Morton Tildum and starring Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt as two passengers aboard a spaceship that is traveling towards a new life on a planet when they are suddenly awakened 90 years too early from a deep sleep, eventually realizing they have woken up for a reason. It also stars Michael Sheen and Lawrence Fishburne. So, Jake, you have seen one of these films, Passengers. So, comparing Passengers to what? Maybe your anticipation or what you look forward to in Assassin's Creed. Which one do you take? Which one do you leave?
Well, so I'll kind of do two of them. I'll do one of me before I saw Passengers and one of me after doing Passengers. So before going in to see Passengers last night, I'll say that I was looking forward to Passengers more. And it was mainly due to Morton Tildum, who did The Imitation Game, which is just phenomenal. And then Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and the fact that it's basically a character portrait of these two working together the entire film. And they're two of my favorite actors working today. Obviously, I had nothing against Assassin's Creed. I thought it looked awesome. The trailers were good. I never played the game, so I wasn't ever like hooked to it like many fans were. But Passengers was always the one. But then going in after watching Passengers, my anticipation, I think my expectations were a little too high for Passengers. And hopefully I'll get into it a little bit, do a review sometime and kind of talk about that. But I'm going to take Assassin's Creed solely based on that I've already seen Passengers. I think that, unfortunately, early reviews for Assassin's Creed aren't what I expected. But I'm still going in with a little bit of hope that I may like it. I like Michael Fassbender. I like Marion Cotillard. I've heard great things about Justin Kurzel and his Macbeth that he did a few years ago with Fassbender and Cotillard. But I'll take Assassin's Creed based on that I've already seen Passengers. But going in before seeing either of them, I would have taken Passengers. So.
Yeah, for sure. All year I've been looking forward to both of these films.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for video game movies, and I love Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and I really like the Intimidation. What is it?
The Imitation
Game from last year. Jesus, all these words scrambling me up. Yeah, so I was already looking forward to both of them, and I was looking forward to Passengers more, but considering all these negative reviews that are coming out for both films, they're both not getting great reviews. Mm-hmm. Assassin's Creed is getting probably worse reviews. But just looking at the films on the surface, not counting in the reviews, I'm looking forward to Passengers more. So I'm going to take Passengers. I can imagine watching these two on screen and just being entertained for the whole time. Whereas I've been really skeptical about Assassin's Creed. The trailers really bothered me up until this last one, which I really liked, and then I was even more excited for the movie. And then all these reviews come out. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to let these reviews ruin my anticipation for the film. I still really want to see Assassin's Creed. I don't understand how this team and these actors can put something so horrible on the screen, and I'm going to decide for myself whether I like it or not. But if I could only see one of these films, I would definitely choose Passengers. All right, well, that's going to wrap up Apocalypse movie news for this week. I want to thank Jake Berlin for writing up the notes, first of all, and joining me on the mic. Let them know where they can find you online.
Twitter, Instagram, at Qui-Gon Jake. You can find me on apocalypsemovies.com every day. This YouTube channel, check out the Padawan podcast. A lot will be revolving around Rogue One and spoilers talk.
Exactly. And you can find me, Jacob Bartley, on Twitter, at JacobBartley_, on this YouTube channel, Apocalypse Movies. Please subscribe and hit that like button if you like what you heard. And until next time, you all take care.